South Carolina faces UConn at 7 p.m. Eastern, and Texas takes on UCLA at 9:30. We want you all to have a great day, everyone. Take a little time to enjoy the view. And remember who we are as human beings. We are not alone. We're in it together, and we'll get through this all together.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon. See you tomorrow.
This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
The Appropriations Committee voted to approve a supplemental budget for the state. President Trump and Maine Secretary of State are at odds over an executive order on election security, and a Bangor City Councilor is facing criticism about comments he made regarding students. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more on these and other stories coming up. First, let's check in with meteorologist Devin Biggs. Devin?
Hey, Susan, happy Thursday afternoon. We have a winter weather advisory that will last through Friday at around 10 a.m. for some more ice accumulations that will be possible. We also have a small craft advisory that will also be up until Thursday, so later this afternoon at around 2 p.m. along the coast. So here's where we currently stand. We're calm out there, just some clouds passing through, and that's about it. We'll be under a partly to mostly cloudy sky as we do move forward today. There is a precipitation to the south and a lot more that's off towards the west, an ice storm in parts of Wisconsin this afternoon. So some clouds and yes, some sunshine out there today. Notice this next round of wintry precipitation passing through tonight and the parts of your Friday. We'll catch a break as we head towards Friday evening, except to the north. Some wind out there. Notice at around 10 to even 20 miles per hour at times, and we'll keep that going at least a little bit as we head towards this evening, and some more gusty winds possible as we head through Friday too. But meanwhile, for today, mid-40s, partly to mostly cloudy, northeast wind at about 5 miles per hour. So as we move forward with your hourly forecast, again, some clouds, some sunshine peeking out. We'll have temperatures in the 40s and cooling off. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Susan?
Thank you, Devin. The Appropriations Committee voted early this morning to approve more than $11 billion supplemental budget for the state. It approves funding for essential services in Maine, including a boost in teachers' salaries and funds needed to implement the new red flag law. It also provides property tax relief and checks of $300 to help thousands of Mainers deal with rising costs. One of the more controversial measures pushed by the majority Democrats would force millionaires to pay more taxes. Supporters say the plan would generate $150 million over 2 years. The spending plan will now be presented to the full legislature for consideration. President Trump signed an executive order that he says will strengthen election integrity, but on Wednesday, Maine Secretary of State said she disagrees with how he plans to do it. That executive order directs Homeland Security and the Social Security Administration to compile a list of confirmed U.S. citizens who will be 18 or older at the time of the next federal election and then transmit it to each state. All mail-in absentee ballots would have to have a barcode to facilitate tracking. Federal funds would be withheld from non-compliant states. White House spokesperson Abigail White said, quote, "The president will do everything in his power to defend the safety and security of American elections and to ensure that only American citizens are voting in them." Secretary of State Shanna Bellows issued a statement saying, quote, "President Trump clearly didn't get a copy of the Constitution I sent him. This executive order is laughably unconstitutional, and Maine is not going to obey in advance because the president isn't in charge of elections. The states are." A closely watched U.S. Senate primary race is approaching in Maine, and the Democratic contest is drawing significant attention. Our Alexa Kennedy tells us more.
With just a couple of months until the primary, Maine's U.S. Senate race is gaining momentum, and voters are at the center of a pivotal election that could carry national implications. According to University of Maine political scientist Mark Brewer, the race is centered on Governor Janet Mills and challenger Graham Plattner. Polls currently show Plattner in the lead, a position he's held consistently, along with a significant fundraising advantage. Brewer says that makes Plattner the clear frontrunner for the Democratic Party, though the race remains far from decided.
I do think that, Plattner versus Mills will give us some insight on where Democrats are in terms of what they see as their preferred future direction of the party.
Brewer says this election highlights a divide within the Democratic Party between experience and calls for change. Meanwhile, national attention is growing.
With such a tight margin, or a slim margin of control that the Republicans currently have, it could very well be that control of the Senate comes down to the race in Maine.
Christina Parker, communications director for the Maine Republican Party, says Republicans are taking a wait-and-see approach. She highlights ongoing attacks between Democrats as candidates clash in a contentious primary.
They're kind of tossing a couple insults and, attacks at each other. And honestly, we will let them fight that out.
She points to concerns about both Governor Janet Mills and Graham Plattner, arguing voters are increasingly dissatisfied and looking for change.
A lot of stuff is coming out about Graham Plattner's past, obviously, and then also we have the governor's voting record, and I think there's a lot of Mainers that are not happy about things that she's done while she was governor.
Parker expressed confidence that Republicans have stronger candidates heading into the general election. She also pointed out that it's past the deadline to find alternative contenders. When reached out for comment, the Maine Democratic Party did not respond. Alexa Kennedy reporting for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
A state project that will connect two popular trails in Ellsworth. Right now, the popular paved pedestrian and bicycle trail and the 96-mile Down East Sunrise Trail are not connected. Maine DOT Office of Communications Director Andrew Goebel says that a $2.5 million project will change that by creating a continuous route through Ellsworth. He says it will feature a 10-foot paved surface with ADA-compliant crossings and sidewalk ramps for pedestrians. Motorized vehicles will not be permitted. Construction on the project is expected to begin in the summer of 2028. The Bangor Mall isn't the only local facility getting a new owner. Bangor Mall's Airport Mall has also been sold. According to the Bangor Daily, the mall has been sold to a company called SBP Bangor Airport Mall LLC out of Montreal, Canada. According to the city's tax rolls, it has been sold for $13 million. There's no word on what the owners have planned for that mall. This is National Distracted Driving Awareness Month. Officials in Maine are reminding people to pay attention when they drive. The Maine Bureau of Highway Safety says between 2021 and 2024, there were 52 fatal crashes that resulted in 55 deaths caused by distracted drivers on Maine roadways. From April 9th through April 13th, multiple law enforcement agencies across the state, in partnership with the Bureau, will be conducting additional patrols looking for drivers texting and using their phones while driving. Bureau of Highway Safety Distracted Driving Program Manager Carrie Bernier says, quote, "The driver's focus shouldn't be on their phone, it should be on the road. Nothing on your phone is worth a risk to yourself and to other people on the road." A Bangor City Councilor is attracting criticism for comments he made during an executive session at a public meeting. He was caught on a hot mic Tuesday evening discussing funding for the Bangor School Department's multilingual learning programs. Our Callie Warren explains why his statements have caused a stir.
Bangor City Councilor Wayne Mallor discussed English being taught as a second language in Bangor public schools, with an individual likely not knowing that that conversation was audible near an open microphone during a recording of a public meeting. In that conversation, Mallor stated his disapproval of the school department asking for an increase in funding to hire another multilingual instructor. Here is some of what Mallor had to say Tuesday night.
You can't speak English, read English, or write English. It's not a disability. We do not have to punish. And they're probably all illegals anyway.
English as a second language is something that, according to Bangor Superintendent of Schools Marie Robinson, is federally required to be taught. Robinson released a statement saying in part, quote, "Providing English as a second language services is not optional. It is a legal and moral obligation that supports students' rights and their ability to learn. Our multilingual teachers provide qualified, targeted instruction so that all students can access grade-level curriculum and succeed academically," end quote. Robinson then went on to say that the department serves everyone, regardless of their background or country of origin. Maller's comments have created frustration among some members of the City Council. We spoke with two councilors who both stressed the importance of a disclaimer that they only speak for themselves and their own opinions and do not reflect the overall beliefs of the entire City Council. City Councilor Michael Beck released a statement to us saying, quote, "As a parent with 3 children in Bangor schools, I know that our students, all of them, are the future of this city. The school committee has put in months of work to build a budget that supports every child, and that process deserves to be met with an open mind and mutual respect. I'm disappointed by any rhetoric that relies on harmful stereotypes to dismiss the needs of our neighbors. Our city is at its best when we treat every family with dignity, and I look forward to a budget process that reflects those values," end quote.
We also had the opportunity to speak with Councillor Susan Falloon, who says the behavior isn't what she expects of her fellow councillors.
These statements don't reflect the full City Council. I can only speak for myself, and they absolutely do not reflect my opinion. And I think that those statements were highly inappropriate. We need to be held to a higher standard. We do. That's just all there is to it. Once you take that oath, you've taken that oath. You have responsibilities.
We reached out to all members of the City Council. We did reach out to Maller for comment, but have not heard back at this time. Councillors Falloon and Beck were the only ones to respond to our request for comment, along with Councillor Joe Leonard, who declined to comment. In studio, I'm Callie Warren for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, Iran is weighing in on the president's promise to finish the war. We'll be right back.
Peter Van here. You know, I thought growing up would be the worst, but then I found a way to hack adulthood. It's called AAA. With AAA, I'm covered from roadside to poolside, and insurance and member perks that make adulting a breeze. With AAA, it pays to be a member.
Do you have a wet basement, nasty crawl space, settling foundation, sinking concrete, or clogged gutters? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basement-y. For over 30 years, thousands of homeowners throughout Maine and southeastern New Hampshire have trusted TC Hafford. Basement waterproofing, crawl space repair, stabilizing foundations, concrete leveling, and gutter installation. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basement-y.
When it comes to your home, go to the source. Go to R&B's Home Source in Madison. R&B's Home Source has home comfort, convenience, and savings all wrapped up in one location. From the living room to the dining room to the bedroom, we have some of the best values in furniture and bedding. For the kitchen, R&B's Home Source has top-notch appliances from fridges to ranges, even washers and dryers. And sit back and relax with quality electronics. We service everything we sell too. For your home, go to the source. R&B's Home Source, Lakewood Road, Madison.
Jamar Construction Products in Bangor continues to grow to meet our customers' needs, supplying products for site work contractors, concrete contractors, and survey and safety supplies. We are proud to be the local dealer for Hilti, Valley Blades, U.S. Fabrics, and Euclid Chemical, plus so much more. Stop by and see us at 1270 Hammond Street or give us a call at 907-4491. If you dig it, pour it, plow it, fasten it, lay it, or lift it, Jamar Construction Products can help you.
Commercial vehicles can be dangerous, and they usually carry big insurance policies. So whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or a big rig like this, we know commercial vehicle accidents, and we know how to get you the big money you may deserve. If any commercial vehicle hurts you, call the Twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the Twos. We win for you. Call 222-2222.
Be back in a bit. Try not to burn the house down.
Guess it's a good thing we got AAA.
AAA, we're always with you.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Iran responded to President Trump's threat to bomb the country, quote, back to the Stone Age where they belong, unquote, with missile attacks and a pledge to keep fighting until America surrenders. Correspondent Jonathan Hunt has more.
We are going to finish the job, and we're going to finish it very fast.
President Trump outlined a new timeline for wrapping up Operation Epic Fury, saying the military is on track to complete its objectives in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But Iran responded to the president's remarks with new missile attacks targeting Israel and Gulf nations. The Iranian military also issued its own warning, claiming it still has stockpiles of missiles and drones the U.S. doesn't even know about.
The centers you believe you have targeted are insignificant, and our strategic military production takes place in locations you are completely unaware of.
The president also once again scolded European allies for not taking the lead in protecting the Strait of Hormuz. And on Thursday, the UK responded with a virtual summit on efforts to reopen the waterway. Its closure has sent oil prices through the roof, but the White House says the U.S. is well positioned to weather the storm.
America now produces more oil than anybody else in the world. Deregulation, tax cuts, all of these things helping us be able to bounce back.
And while most experts say it will be difficult to fully neutralize the Iran threat in the next 3 weeks, it's clear President Trump is staying in the fight.
Even though this war is going to be limited in our objectives, the next several weeks are not going to be tempered.
President Trump says if Iran doesn't reopen the Strait of Hormuz by Monday, he'll target the country's energy facilities. In Tel Aviv, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
Protesters at universities across the nation are demanding that the names of those associated with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein be stripped from campus buildings. At Ohio State University, the family name of billionaire Les Wexner is on several buildings. He was personally and financially tied to Epstein, with his name appearing in the Epstein files hundreds of times. Wexner has denied knowing about the financier's crimes. Still, critics want his name removed from their school, with a similar movement also taking place at Harvard University.
We have a well-established process, as the university has said before, and I think the process is thorough, fair, and open, and I will promise you that we will give each request a full consideration.
At Ohio State, the demand to remove Wexner's name is making its way through a 5-step review procedure. There is no set timeline on when it will be completed. 4 astronauts are on board NASA's Artemis II as it orbits the Earth right now before setting a course for the moon. Today is all about safety checks, with the crew checking the capsule systems and making sure everything is good for their historic journey. ABC's Rena Roy has more on the mission.
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition.
The Artemis II mission is officially underway as it orbits the Earth, with astronauts set to travel deeper into space than ever before.
So after a brief 54-year intermission, NASA is back in the business of sending astronauts to the moon.
The crew of 4 testing out Orion space capsule's systems. The temperature has been cold in the capsule, which they are working on correcting. They've already performed a manual flight demo, piloting the spaceship in the same way they would if they were docking with another spacecraft. The Orion spacecraft is now in high Earth orbit, which you can see here on this animation. Later today, they plan to fire up the rocket engine to propel out of Earth's orbit towards the moon. It takes about 4 days to get there. Orion will then loop around the moon, traveling about 4,100 miles beyond the moon, and could go the farthest distance a crewed mission has ever ventured from Earth. They'll get home with the help of gravity pulling the spaceship back to Earth to complete that figure-8 flight path before splashing down off the coast of California. The crew checking in as they orbit the Earth.
It's an amazing ride uphill. The views, we've got 2 moon rises that we've had so far, and the views of planet Earth. We've circled it completely, and we forgot how beautiful it is to look down on Earth.
Crowds gathered near Kennedy Space Center Wednesday to witness the start of this historic journey. Now, Artemis II won't land on the moon, but they will get a good look at the far side of it. The goal of the mission is to pave the way for future landings, NASA aiming for that in 2028, with further sights set on the potential exploration of Mars. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
After the break, there's a new way to check your risk for chronic diseases. We'll tell you all about it when we return.
Falls are the #1 cause of injury to senior citizens. Acorn Stairlifts has the solution. Just don't fall. Sit, relax, ride with an Acorn Stairlift, the world's leader in stairlifts. Don't let limited mobility keep you from going up and down your stairs, even outside. Call Acorn Stairlifts now for a free information kit and no obligation quote. Why risk falling when you can safely ride?
Our Acorn Stairlift is definitely more affordable than moving.
The Acorn Stairlift has a padded seat and backrest. Safety sensors stop the chair if there are obstacles. The seat swivels and locks so you don't twist your body. And the Acorn Stairlift folds away. It even runs during power outages.
I was really surprised at how little it cost.
Call 1-800-732-2971 right now for your free information kit or visit our website today. That's 1-800-732-2971.
This is Maine. Wild, real, undeniably bold, with deep roots and endless horizons. From Acadia to Katahdin, from labs to lobster boats, this is where you push limits, explore new ideas, and discover your potential. So call it grit, call it pride, call it ingenuity. Whatever it is, you've got it. This is Maine. Claim your place.
At the County Federal Credit Union, we value the trust our members place in us to act in their best interest. Whether it's providing low rates on consumer loans or raising money to end hunger, we work hard to serve our members and the communities in which they live. We are excited to bring the meaningful and impactful work we do to all Mainers as we continue to grow. Wherever you are in life's journey, count on the county to be your financial partner.
You provide it all. There's no challenge you can't take on, because you've already taken on everything. You've gone above and beyond. It feels like you've brought them together. It feels like your home is taken care of. It feels like you're all at the top of your game. And with Fidium Fiber Internet, you are.
It feels like Fidium.
For measuring obesity goes beyond BMI to measure where you carry your fat and how it may affect your risk of chronic diseases. ABC's Alex Stone has more.
Currently, the usual method for identifying people with obesity looks at BMI, which factors in a person's height and weight. Although it can be useful for identifying someone with an increased risk of health problems, BMI does not do a good job of measuring body fat, muscle mass, or fat distribution. In particular, it misses visceral fat, abdominal fat that sits around your organs, such as your liver, heart, and muscles. High amounts of visceral fat have been shown to increase your risk of many chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. A study proposing a new method of measuring obesity published in the Lancet's Diabetes and Endocrinology Journal involves adding methods that measure waist size, waist-to-hip ratio, waist-to-height ratio, or body fat to BMI to help doctors spot people most at risk for health issues. While scientists call for more research to ensure the new measure doesn't overestimate the number of people with obesity, more than 75 medical organizations around the world have endorsed it. With this Medical Minute, I'm Alex Stone.
Students at Husson University are getting a unique hands-on experience through the university's new state-of-the-art exercise and sports science lab. The lab features top-of-the-line exercise equipment, including an advanced modular altitude chamber that transforms a section of the lab into a fully controlled environment for altitude training, research, and performance enhancement. It was made possible by congressionally directed funding, part of a larger funding package intended to increase the amount of STEM opportunities for students. According to educators and students, the space is more accessible and advanced than their previous equipment, expanding education possibilities and research capabilities.
This is the first semester we're really utilizing the lab, that I hope that they're building the basis for future research projects coming out of the lab, so we start to see the Husson Exercise Science program produce regular research
I definitely think that this is going to be very helpful for any student coming in. This would be a big pull into the program. You don't see a lot of schools that have altitude chambers or specific like force plates that we do. So I think it'll be helpful for them to learn and grow with the program.
A group of students studying physical therapy and exercise science have been utilizing the space for research this semester, but the university plans to encourage students in related fields to also take advantage of this space and technology in upcoming semesters. When we return, Devin Biggs has your 5-day forecast.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
When I had first left for college, I was super excited to start pursuing my dreams, and I had met so many amazing people my freshman year. Yeah, some days were really hard, balancing work life and classes, but most of them, they were the best of my life, because I had something not everyone gets. A dad inspiring me every step of the way, and I'm so happy to graduate beside you.
I have a house payment, I have a car payment, I have a giant child who eats me out of house and home, so $300 for 2 cell phones in this economy? No. I didn't know Spectrum had mobile services. The cost, that's what's open. You're saving so much money. It's for the everyday person.
Real customers, real savings. Visit spectrum.com/save1000 to learn how to save $1,000 guaranteed.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Let's check your full forecast with Devin Biggs. Devin?
Alrighty, Susan, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. We have a winter weather advisory that is up until 10 a.m. Friday for the counties in purple. Small craft advisory until 2 o'clock this afternoon. And one thing I haven't mentioned much today is a winter storm warning up near the Presque Isle area in Caribou 2 until 5 p.m. as we head towards your Friday as well. Wave heights are active out there at around 4 to 6 feet according to the buoys. 4 to 7 foot wave heights farther out towards sea. So the ocean definitely a little bit active out there at this moment in time. Radar and satellite, we do have some clouds out there. Some sunshine also common this afternoon too. We'll have a mixture of some clouds and some sunshine. Meanwhile, one system's passing by to the south. We'll be watching for more activity approaching as this system will be tracking off to the east. It's a large Colorado low right now that's also bringing an ice storm to parts of Wisconsin. But meanwhile, this system, this one here, is going to be tracking off towards the east, leaving us alone. Notice for your Friday, we're going to have a wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. That'll be tracking off to the north and east, switching over to rain. We're looking good for your Saturday. But then once we head towards parts of Easter Sunday, another wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow possible. This one quickly switches over to rain and gets out of here pretty quickly. So for your Monday, we're looking pretty good. So there is some ice potential with this, but primarily further off towards the north. So that we'll have to monitor closely, but further off towards the south, not looking too terrible. There is a snow potential with this too, but primarily further off towards the north. Anything further south, not looking too bad. So partly to mostly cloudy today. We'll have temperatures in the mid-40s, and that northeast wind at about 5 miles per hour. Overnight, low 30s, some rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow, with that southeast breeze getting up to about 5 miles per hour. And then tomorrow, we have upper 40s. That wintry mix will change to all rain, with that south wind getting up to about 20 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast, brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Partly cloudy for your Saturday. We'll have highs in the low 50s. For Easter Sunday, we'll have a wintry mix switching over to all rain with highs in the upper 40s. We're dry Monday with a mostly cloudy sky and highs in the upper 40s.
Thank you, Devin. Kit Kat isn't taking a break in the search to find its missing candy bars. The company announced in a social media post Wednesday that it has created a stolen Kit Kat tracker for customers to self-track if their Kit Kat is a part of a stolen batch. Consumers can check if their bar was part of the stolen shipment by entering the 8-digit batch number on the back of the candy into Nestle's online tracker. Nestle confirmed more than 400,000 Kit Kat bars were stolen in a transit between the company's central Italy facility and their destination in Poland last week. While it's unclear what happens if a consumer enters a bar batch code from the stolen lot, the company says it will share instructions on how to alert Kit Kat with consumers and retailers who's come across the stolen candy. The stolen candies were Kit Kat's new car-shaped Formula One bars, not their regular chocolates. And deputies in Florida responded to a construction site to wrangle an alligator. It happened Sunday in Avon Park in the central region of the state. Highlands County Deputy Gabe Massey was previously an animal control officer. He used a PVC pipe and a rain slicker to subdue the 4-foot gator. The animal was placed in the back of a patrol car and taken to a lake where it was released. Not sure I want to take it for a ride. That's all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thanks for watching. I'm Susan Farley. We'll see you this evening on ABC 7 News at 6. Have a great afternoon.
It's back, Bangor! The Greater Bangor Area Music Showcase returns with the fan favorite music off-Broadway. Join Roger George and his talented musicians for an unforgettable show, all to support Rotary's work in our local community. Saturday, April 11th at 7 p.m. and Sunday, April 12th at 3 p.m. Getting your tickets is easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen. Bring your friends, bring your family, and enjoy a show that makes a difference. Don't miss it.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Hey, glad you're with us on Conquering